Hello friends, you're watching Unpack, and welcome to a video I've always wanted to do for quite some time. Or at least a series of videos. I'll be doing more of these later on down the line. Anyway, we're going to be ranking every SpongeBob season up to like season 15. We're doing tier list videos now, so... Now granted we're only going up to like season 15, as I have not seen the entirety of season 16, like I've only seen up to Happy Krabby Birthday. I've not seen the final two segments yet, so therefore I'm not going to be putting season 16 on the overall ranking as of June 2026, so I will make an updated version of this some point like within the next 5 years or so. Who knows? Anyway, starting off, we're going to start with in chronological order. Also, we're not going to be counting the spin-offs of the movies here because those are tier list videos of their own, so... Yeah, anyway, starting off with season 1. Great season. A lot of people pinpoint seasons 1 through 3 as peak SpongeBob, and, a lot of people, starting to like in season 4 more. Anyway, my overall favorite episode of season 1 is hard to think of off the top of my head. While it's not entirely great by any means, I'm not saying it's awful either. I still think it's a rather enjoyable season. It's the only season to use the traditional cell animated style. If I were to pick a favorite episode of the season, it would probably either be Pizza Delivery or Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost, and for the latter is kind of a hot take since I know a lot of people don't really care for the episode that much, but I think Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost, it's my favorite episode of season 1, and Pizza Delivery comes close to like a second of the season, while my least favorite being Neptune's Spectral. Again, that episode's not bad by any means, but it's just... the least interesting when you compare it to episodes from seasons 2 and 3 onward. Still a rather enjoyable season. If we're true, I'm going to put this on, I'm going to put it on A. It's not peak, it's not S tier, unfortunately. But it's still a really good season. Anyway, let's move on to season 2. Season 2 is where, quality starts to increase for me. Season 2 might just be one of my favorite seasons of the show, and I bet there's someone out there who begs to differ, but I can't be damned to figure out which one. Anyway, a lot of great episodes from this season. My favorite episode being Dying for Pie. I think that almost comes close to being one of my favorite episodes of the series. Dying for Pie is a classic. Gotta love the Squidward SpongeBob dynamic. Gotta love episodes where Squidward is shown to have a soft spot for the little old sponge who, quote, drives him crazy. We all know that Squidward, finds him annoying, wants him to move out all, but at least he doesn't want him dead. I believe for later episode, season 12, that would age pretty bad, but whatever. Really enjoyable episode, has a great balance between the humor and the heartwarming stuff. Meanwhile, my least favorite episode of season 2 would be I'm What's Stupid, and contrary to what a lot of people like Mr. Enter would, say about it, I actually enjoyed that episode. I actually like I'm What's Stupid. I do consider it to be my least favorite because it's perhaps the least, enjoyable. There's not a single episode from either of these two seasons that are considerably bad. I just think I'm What's Stupid's, by SpongeBob standards, it's just a pretty decent episode. Yeah, Patrick was kind of a cunt in that episode. His fucking dickishness came out of nowhere. Poor Spongy deserves so much better here. I do agree, but it's still a really funny episode. Now, overall, for season 2, where I'd rank this, it's going above. It's going on the S tier. It's a really enjoyable season. It's got a lot of fun episodes. I know a lot of people claim that Band Geeks is, everyone's favorite fun episode, but while I do enjoy the episode, I don't consider it, my favorites. It's not even in the top 10. It's, more so, top 50 or so. Sorry, just how I feel. Sorry to have a pretty bad hot take here, but it's still a good episode. Don't get me wrong. Anyway, season 3. No question, it's going right here. I consider season 3 to be better than season 2. It's the best season by far. It's got a lot of really, really great episodes. As Seen on TV, Wet Painters, the camping episode. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but The Sponge You Can Fly, I really enjoyed that episode, despite, the Bikini Bottomites being uncharacteristically dickish towards SpongeBob for, wanting to fly. Who cares? If you take the Bikini Bottomites from the episode out of the equation, it's a really fun episode. And I like the Lost episode stuff with Patchy in it as well. But that's not even my favorite episode of the season. The honor would go to the Krusty Krab training video. What's not to like about that episode? I mean, I like the whole premise of the episode being like modeled after a generic fast food training video that like employees pop into a VHS player for newcomers, you know? It's a really funny episode. It can be very meta at times, but Patrick being the only one who's very uncomfy with the fucking narrator, and even referring to him as the ceiling. Squidward, your ceiling is talking to me! My least favorite of the season would have to be SpongeBob BC Before Comedy, also known as UGG. Yeah, I just thought the episode's pretty boring, and yeah, here's a little hot take. I'm not really a fan of caveman episodes. Now, when I talk about Phineas and Ferb, if I were to do ranking lists on every Phineas and Ferb season, spoilers ahead, their fucking caveman episode is my least favorite of the entire series. So, Tri-Stone Area is the worst episode. Don't get me wrong. But I digress. While the SpongeBob caveman stuff doesn't go on for the entire 22 minutes, much like the other season 3 specials, again, like The Sponge Could Fly, there are segments hosted by Patchy the Pirate. And Patchy the Pirate, peak character, he really dominated SpongeBob special promotions back in the early 2000s, and going as far as like the Legends of Bikini Bottom miniseries from 2011. While he did not appear in those episodes, he only appeared like during promos and stuff, but I digress. The Patchy the Pirate segments were perhaps the best part of the episode. I could care less about the SpongeGar stuff. I mean, all the fucking caveman episodes boil down to is just blah, 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 caveman gibberish, blah, 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 blah. It's been done to death. Discovering the wheel, discovering fire, it's all you fucking expect from these fucking cliche-ass caveman episodes. Again, Phineas and Ferb reused this idea, same thing with the fucking Powerpuff Girls. The original Powerpuff Girls, not the 2016 reboot. Yeah, I'll give this my least favorite episode of Season 3. But that doesn't stop Season 3 from being the best season overall, in terms of its ranking so far. It's a really enjoyable season. It's peak SpongeBob right here. Anyway, moving on to Season 4, the first post-movie season. Yeah, Season 4 gets a bad rep. I'll have to say that right now. Well, yeah, there are some, bad episodes. Like, this is the first season to have, some bad episodes, like my least favorite being Whale of a Birthday, and The Best Day Ever is also another bad one, but isn't really that bad as Whale of a Birthday, which, yeah, Whale of a Birthday is my least favorite episode of Season 4. Mr. Krabs is pretty unlikable in that one. The fact that he forgot about his daughter's 16th birthday. I get that Mr. Krabs isn't the best father, but, also we already had an episode where Pearl celebrated her birthday. I'm pretty sure that was her 15th birthday on the episode Squeaky Boots from Season 1, but who cares? That was just for the beginning part of the episode. Wasn't a very enjoyable episode. It just, wasn't really, enjoyable in my book. Although my favorite of Season 4, it's a tie, okay? I can't really decide between either Fear of a Krabby Patty, the season premiere, and Have You Seen the Snail, also known in promotions as Where's Gary? Both episodes are really good. I really enjoy C.H. Greenblatt's art style in the former episode. Well, it's a shame that this was his last season on the show up until his brief reappearance in the credits in the episode Go Fetch, which is, peak episode, by the way. We'll get to that once we make an updated version of the SpongeBob season tier list. And also, Have You Seen a Snail? That comes neck and neck as the best episode of season 4, in my opinion. Because, just like Dying for Pie, it does a really good job balancing the humor with the heartfelt moments. You all know that SpongeBob would never cause Gary to run away on purpose. He was kind of a dick to him in the beginning. That was because he was pretty preoccupied with the paddle ball challenge, so... Not to mention the song is fucking peak too. One of the best songs in the entire series. Stu really knocked the ball out of the park with that one. Really enjoyable episode. Season 4, yeah, overall gets a bad rep. Also, Cry Island being the worst episode. Really. Side note, a lot of people really seem to bitch about the fact that Cry Island got, the number 1 pick on the Best Day Ever marathon, which is that whole top 100 SpongeBob marathon that ran for 24 hours, leading up to the premiere of the Best Day Ever episode and the SpongeBob movie. I mean, I thought Cry Island was a pretty enjoyable episode. I digress. Anyway, Season 5. This is where the quality dips, by the way. Not entirely, but, So... my favorite of the season, again, another tie. Yeah, just like with Season 4. So, my 2 favorites of the season, first off, Friend or Foe, really enjoyable Really enjoyable special. Again, I love the Patchy the Pirate hosted specials. Patchy's a keynote character. I love how he serves as a host for SpongeBob SquarePants specials in general. At least up to like about season 13, 14. I can't be wrong. This is all unscripted. While Have You Seen a Snail and Dungeons and Dragons don't include Patchy segments in season 4, Friend or Foe is a nice return to form in terms of that, with the Patchy segments sandwiched in between the SpongeBob ones. Interesting enough, Friend or Foe isn't even about SpongeBob. It delves deep into the backstory between Mr. Krabs and Plankton's rivalry. Yeah, it does a really good job, blending the humor and heartfelt moments, although it really isn't really heartfelt until the very end, but who cares? Another favorite of mine would have to be the episode The Two Faces of Squidward. I'm sure I sense a pattern here. The season premiere and a random pick from later on in the season being the favorite. Freaky coincidence, I know. Yeah, Two Faces of Squidward is another favorite of mine from season 5. Yeah, this is the episode with the handsome Squidward meme. I love that this episode gives Squidward a chance in the spotlight. It's nice that Squidward actually getting some praise for once. He's not a particularly liked character in Bikini Bottom. Well, it does turn out to be a careful what you wish for sort of scenario where at first he begins to appreciate how swoon the entire time of Bikini Bottom is over his handsome face. And once the Bottomites start to go apeshit on him, stealing his shampoo, interrupting his sleep and all that. That's when he realizes, I want my old face back. And while people say that the worst of the season would have to be Atlantis Squarepantis, I personally enjoy Atlantis Squarepantis. While it's not the best special, I do appreciate the SpongeBob crew making the first TV movie. My least favorite episode of season 5 would have to be Whatever Happened to SpongeBob, also known as Who Bob Wet Pants. The episode was just pretty mean-spirited for my liking. And also the whole amnesia shtick has been done to death before in other shows, and it's nice to see Ray Liotta in this episode, as the leader of the Bubble Poppin' Boys. Yeah, it was just a really, dull and pretty forgettable episode. Dare I say it's the worst half-hour special so far. Now, where to rank Season 5? I know I forgot to mention that Season 4 is going right next to Season 1 in the A tier. There are some good episodes in Season 5, but then again, there are also the bad ones, again, Who Bob Wet Pants, and then there's also Weeding, which is a pretty fucking tedious 7-minute episode. I'll just put it in B tier for now. It's a pretty mid-season in my book. Who knows? Maybe when I update this list, this opinion can change. Anyway, Season 6. We're almost done here. Can you tell? Man, this is gonna sound like a hot take, but I actually prefer Season 6 over Season 5. Yeah, that's in terms of nostalgia and the way I see episodes in retrospect. So go ahead, bash me in the comments if you will, but I'm gonna say, alright, I actually enjoyed the episode Truth or Square, the 10th anniversary special that a lot of people really seem to hate. Yeah, that episode was really enjoyable. It shows you get shit ton more Patchy the Pirate stuff, and yeah, I'll admit that he does overstay his welcome in that episode. There's more Patchy the Pirate than SpongeBob, which is a pretty odd balance. Or should I say imbalance. And yeah, the fan service isn't really, that good. You know which fan service I'm talking about, fellas, but it's still, pretty nostalgic. It's a better TV movie than just Squarepantis. Remember when I reviewed Creepaway Camp and told you that I enjoy those 2 episodes? Good times. Just so you know, my opinions on both those specials have not changed since then, so... Anyway, favorite of Season 6. Plankton's Regular is my favorite episode of Season 6. I don't know why I didn't even think about the episode while originally recording this particular video. Yeah, that episode is really overhated, and I think it's a really funny episode. Much like with the Two Faces of Squidward, it's nice to see Plankton actually, getting what he wants. But it's another be careful what you wish for type of episode, with the twist where Nat, the customer that goes to the chum bucket on a daily basis, turns out to be an actor that Karen hired to, get Plankton to shut the fuck up about customers not coming to the chum bucket. While it is a little mean-spirited considering Plankton has done nothing wrong this episode. He's the villain, and it's actually one of the few mean-spirited moments that actually kind of amused me. You can do mean-spirited humor correctly. At least this episode is funny, so it definitely added to the experience. A lot of people pinpoint this as like a low in the series, like pointing to episodes like The Splinter, The Card, again, Troop to Square, Sly Whistle Stooges. There's a lot of hated episodes on here. Believe it or not, there are some episodes that people hate that I personally do enjoy, like The Card. Go ahead, throw some tomatoes at me in the comments. And this is all just based on my personal opinion. I'll gladly respect yours if you respect mine. The thing is, season 6 is overhated in my book. I think there is still some, pretty enjoyable episodes in retrospect, like Suction Cup Symphony, Truth or Square again. I didn't really hate the Splinter episode. I don't know why that one gets hated. My least favorite episode from season 6 would have to be The Clash of Triton. That one was just boring. It's up there with Whatever Happened to SpongeBob is the worst SpongeBob special. That one was just like, boring and uninteresting. Hell, I argue it's a lot more boring than Ugg. I'm getting the sense of pattern here. A lot of the boring SpongeBob specials will have to be the worst of a lot of these seasons, Season 6, it's going to be ranked higher than Season 5. It's still going to be on B tier because there's a balance of episodes that are good and bad, in my opinion. Moving on to Season 7, which, a lot of people find worse than Season 6. It gave us the Legends of Bikini Bottom mini-series, which is alright, in my opinion. Then again, this also has everyone's least favorite episode, One Course Meal, and there's also A Pal for Gary that a lot of people hate, which, I agree, that one was pretty terrible. Yeah, I do hate A Pal for Gary, especially when you compare it to the ending of Where's Gary, when SpongeBob said, things are going to be different between you and I. You'll see, pal. When you compare it to SpongeBob's character arc in A Pal for Gary, okay, A Pal for Gary is the worst episode of Season 7, but it's not even the worst episode of the whole series, in my opinion. No. We'll get there. It's going to be a long video. Anyway, favorite of Season 7, well, it's going to be a little harder to, think about. Since, it's just as mixed as Season 6. I can appreciate the season for giving us the series' first mini-series. Spoilers, this trend will continue on to Season 8 with the Runaway Road Trip mini-series. Both these miniseries I have on DVD, by the way, if my DVD collection weren't that clear from a few years back. Season 7, I think, is worse than Season 6, in my opinion. Hell, I think it's worse than Season 5, so it's going in C tier. Although there are still some episodes I enjoy. No, fuck it, it's not going on C tier, it's going on B tier. Why I ranked it lower for some fuck-ass reason. There are still some episodes I enjoy from the season, like Karate Star, which a lot of people really seem to hate for some odd reason. Another episode I like is Perfect Chemistry. Gary in Love is another episode I liked. A close, favorite in my opinion would have to be Gary in Love. Because, I can't really think of the true favorite. I want to move on to Season 8 now. Season 8, a lot of people see Season 8 as an improvement over Season 7. And I honestly agree. Again, like I mentioned, this is the season that gave us the Runaway Road Trip miniseries. While it's not great by any means, I do like the idea behind it. Now, my favorite episode of the season would have to be It's a SpongeBob Christmas. And it's going to be, I wouldn't even call it a hot take. It's the first of many stop-motion specials. Yeah, that experimentation alone makes it great. It's really well animated. It's also pretty nostalgic. I remember owning the DVD of this particular episode. Yeah, it did release on DVD a few weeks prior to its premiere on CBS. And It's a SpongeBob Christmas is the only episode to premiere on a network other than many of the Nickelodeon ones. It's the only episode of SpongeBob to air on CBS. And I remember tuning into that episode's original airing on there when I was a kid. I remember that really well. And I think it also reran on CBS a couple of times during the holiday season of that year, but it should have reran on a yearly basis on that network. I also remember it airing on the same night as another obscure holiday special, Hoops and Yo-Yo Ruined Christmas or whatever it was called. But whatever. I think the worst episode of Season 8 would have to be Pet Sitter Pat. I really didn't enjoy that one all that often. There is one joke in it I like, the way Patrick delivers the line, well, if you can't get in the bath, then the bath's gonna come to you, and spraying Gary with a water hose. I thought that was pretty funny. It's the one joke from that episode I actually enjoyed. Overall wasn't really a big fan of that one. It sucked. I'm gonna put Season 8, hate to do this, but it's going to go up here with Season 4 and 1 in the A tier. Yeah, it's a pretty nostalgic season. I remember this might be the first season where I tuned into, actually no, I think it was Season 7, Season 6, whatever. I remember tuning into original airings of a lot of the episodes from these seasons when I was a kid. And I also remember tuning into Chucho Square's original airing as well, back in November 2009. By nostalgic standards, it's going up here in the A tier. I know a lot of people are disagreeing with me here, and it's completely fine. I'm fine with what you have to say in the comments, but it's just, I find this more enjoyable than these three in terms of ranking. In terms of, bleh. Anyway, now on to season 9, the first widescreen season. Season 8 was the last of the last standard definition season. Now we're moving on to the 16.9 aspect ratio. Sponge Out of Water released in theaters while the season was still airing, and I remember seeing that film the day after it released in theaters in the United States. Good times. That's the reason why, it was put on hold, and it ran for 5 fucking years, the longest running season on any show I've seen, running from 2012 to 2017. Now, a lot of people, differentiate, like, the first half of season 9, extreme spots to SpongeBob, You're Fired, from the latter half. It went from Lost in Bikini Bottom to the Whole Tooth in terms of packaging order. Yeah, I find both parts of season 9 to be pretty enjoyable in their own rights. I'm going to be talking about season 9 overall, not like split up between 9A and 9B. That seems really unfair, don't you think? To the rest of these guys. I have another tie in terms of like favorite of the season. First off, one of my favorites would have to be Plankton's pet. That one was pretty enjoyable. For once, we get to see Plankton as the protagonist, not the antagonist. Adopts a pet to, at first he adopts it as a guard dog and, grows attachment to it, like, after, sending him away after fucking up on stealing a Krabby Patty formula. It still has a wholesome ending, and, he still has Spot at the end of the episode, and not to mention it has a totally out-of-pocket beginning where Mr. Krabs assaults Plankton's baby disguise. When taken out of context, it looks like he's beating up a baby, but, It's the writers were smart enough to show us that the baby is, in fact, fake, and that Krabs is not really a child abuser. Another favorite in season 9 would have to be Sharks vs. Pods. I find it cool that the Happy Days cast voiced the Shark Gang in this one. Very fitting, considering, they're supposed to be it's supposed to be like a whole parody of those, like, 1950s punk gang, whatchamacallit, rowdy bad boy gangs. The twist at the end with them like just being a dance troupe and not a generic 1950s bad boy group, it was pretty clever, subversion of it all. But it's really enjoyable. Has some nice animation too, especially with SpongeBob's dance. Let's guess the shark's the trophy at the end. Mr. Krabs randomly appearing as the judge, and Patrick randomly showing up as well at the end, shouting, "We saved the rec center!" was funny as well. Forgot to add this in the original video, but my least favorite episode of season 9 is not SpongeBob You're Fired. I've grown to like the episode a little more than I originally thought. I mean, back then I took opinions from other people, like Mr. Enter, and thought it was the worst thing ever, but no, I don't think that anymore about it. Instead, I found Squid Baby to be the worst episode of season 9. It's one of the worst of the whole series, actually. It's the SpongeBob equivalent of the writer's barely disguised fetish. That's all I'm gonna say. Fuck that episode. Now, season 9, yeah, it's a major step up from season 8. Despite the 2 different production cycles in between the second theatrical film, still is really enjoyable. It's better than season 8, so I'm gonna it's going in the A tier. Now on to season 10, the shortest season of the whole show with only 11.5 hours. Mainly because of Sponge Out of Water's production. Back when the show was renewed for season 10, it was originally going to have 26.5 hours. Season 10, I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, it's still really enjoyable. I still remember some chuckles here and there from there. My favorite episode is Mimic Madness. I remember doing a review of that episode back on the day it originally aired. And this is before I, became a YouTuber. And granted, this is back when I started the MPAC YouTube channel, but that episode will always have a place in my heart for since it technically got me to start doing YouTube reviews. The first video I ever uploaded to YouTube was back in July 2019, and that was the Mike and Friends episode Mike's did. My review of Mimic Madness, which I think is cringe, by the way, since, I made that back when I was like 14 years old, it still holds up, you know, as the first time I actually reviewed a cartoon, or reviewed anything in general. I made that video with the pretense of uploading it, although I kept it on the back burner up until long after I established this YouTube channel. I think I uploaded back in like 2024, if I'm not mistaken. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a long time. I still remember giving Mimic Madness a positive review, and it still holds up. That's why I still think it's... Tom Kenny is a talented voice actor. It's the primary reason why I enjoyed that episode, and because that review still technically holds up in terms of opinion. And again, it's not the best looking video. I mean, it was made on, I think, some pretty shoddy video editing software. The free version of it, the watermark noticeably in the way. I forget which one I used, but it was not a very good looking video, like visually speaking. I mean, it's always nice to look back in memory lane every now and then. Meanwhile, my least favorite episode of the season, pretty hard one considering there's some episodes I enjoy from this one. I think a close one would have to be Plankton Retires. I thought that one was pretty boring. It takes like up to like the half point of the episode, 5 minutes in, to establish that Plankton's retiring from the chum bucket. Like the first like 4 minutes is just filled with like filler of Krabs getting the upper hand on Plankton. Just pretty bad pacing in my opinion. So that's why it's my least favorite of the season. So in terms of like ranking, I'm gonna put season 10. It's got a lot of real good episodes. Only one that I found pretty bad. I think Trident Trouble comes close to being my least favorite of the season, but I think Plankton Retires is much worse. And to think those two are actually fucking sister episodes, if I'm not mistaken. Season 11. Wow, season 11. Not only does this have the second stop motion special, The Legend of Bikini Bottom, which I think is a contender for my favorite episode of the season. My favorite episode of season 11 is also another tie. I know I'm kind of being unfair here, but like the two episodes I consider to be my favorite are Karen's Virus and The Legend of Bikini Bottom. Karen's Virus got a beautiful blend of 2D and CG elements, with SpongeBob and Karen's interpretation of Plankton, who's just Chud, is a very sexualized version of Plankton, on a quest to stop the virus from killing Karen. That one's very enjoyable. And of course, Legend of Bikini Bottom being the stop motion Halloween special, like that one's also pretty peak as well, on the same bar as, you know, It's a SpongeBob Christmas. Well, unfortunately, the one setback that episode has is there's no fucking Patchy segments. Like, missed opportunity here. Although, from my understanding, I heard that the episode was going to have Patchy segments, but was unfortunately cut for time. Such a shame. I think the episode could have been, you know, a little longer. I mean, there are slightly extended episodes of certain TV shows. Like, for example, Gravity Falls. The episode A Tale of Two Stands is, like, 5 minutes longer than the usual 22-minute runtime. But I digress. Meanwhile, my least favorite episode of the season, I know a lot of people hate the episode Ink Lemonade. I personally don't mind it. I think Ink Lemonade is the most overhated episode. Well, yeah, it's not really that good. It's not a great episode. It's not my favorite. Again, I already listed my favorites just a moment ago. I think the worst episode of season 11 is Squirrel Jelly. Just a boring-ass 15-minute episode. Saying it's just pretty unlikable. I didn't really enjoy it that much. So, yeah. Now, in terms of ranking this bad boy, season 11, it's going in B tier. It's weird hot take since a lot of people rank it higher than it deserves, but still got some mid episodes here like Drive Happy and Don't Feed the Clowns. A lot of weird bonkers episodes. Not to mention Cuddly Hugs is also pretty bad. Just comes as worse as Squirrel Jelly. Dare I say it's like the second worst. That one was just pretty uncomfortable in retrospect. Now on to season 12. Season 12. This season contains the hour-long 20th anniversary special SpongeBob's Big Birthday Blowout, which is alright in my book. I think it comes close to being my favorite of the season. There are a lot of episodes in here that I originally liked back then, but do think they're pretty bad now in retrospect. You know what? Screw SpongeBob's Big Birthday Blowout is the best of season 12. My least favorite episode being it's a really tricky one. This is where the series, in my opinion, starts, you know, decline in quality. Huge drop here, and there are a lot of pretty bad episodes in season 12. And I remember giving the Goofy Newbie a pretty positive review. And watching the episode again, I think it's pretty bad. I think that one sucked. But an episode I think is worse than that, I think, would have to be The Hankering. That one was just, pretty fucking bizarre. It was pretty uninteresting, to say the least. The Hankering is the worst episode of Season 12. One of my least favorite of the whole series, actually. I'm going to be putting Season 12 in the D tier. Yeah, it's going down there. We're almost done here, folks. Anyway, Season 13. I think, my opinion, is worse than Season 12. This is the season that gave us that interesting crossover special between the main SpongeBob series and the two spin-offs, Camp Coral and the Patrick Star Show. I hate Camp Coral. I am kind of mixed on the Patrick Show, and I do not care about the crossover special either. I mean, it's got an interesting concept, but in execution, it ultimately didn't really appease me all that much. Something Gnarled This Way Comes is my least favorite episode of Season 13. Fuck Narlene and Nobby. Like, why the fuck is Camp Coral canon on the main SpongeBob show now? I don't fucking like it. Camp Coral's just one big fat retcon, despite the fact that SpongeBob isn't really, that big on continuity, but I don't fucking care. I hate it. Narlene and Nobby are just nothing characters, and they are the most annoying characters I've seen in the entire series. Fins down. My favorite of Season 13, I think, would have to be Lockdown for Love. I mean, that one I think is pretty enjoyable. And that's not saying much here. I think that one was just mid. There's a lot of episodes in here that I really don't fucking care about, so... Season 13 is going in F tier. It's just not a very good season in my book. Season 14? I think it's way worse. I think Season 14 is worse. My favorite episode of the season would have to be Tango Tangle. Try saying that 5 times fast. I think that's apparent to the one episode, I think, from the season that I think is good. I mean, it's got an interesting concept, and I think they executed it pretty well. Yes, that's the episode with the sexualized dance instructor. It was a very interesting design, and I think she's another reason why this episode is pretty good in my books. Season also has my least favorite TV movie in the series, Creepaway Camp, which I did a whole fucking review on. I'll leave a link to that in the description. Not to mention the season also has my least favorite episode of the entire series, which is In the Mood to Feud. I don't like Narlene and Nobby. They come from Camp Coral. I hate Camp Coral. Creepaway Camp. The reason why I hate it because I hate Camp Coral, and it was a pretty fucking boring special. In the Mood to Feud has the most uninteresting, boring fucking premise. It has the fucking narwhals. Hey, at least it has the fucking Plankton family from Plankton's Army, but that's not saying much because the episode overall is just fucking awful. I hate it so much. Therefore, it's the worst season in my books. Also, much like Season 10, the season's been shortened, and it's going to be the new norm from now on. Every season onward, it's going to be 13 half hours. Season 15 is technically the second half of the Season 14 cycle. It's just Nickelodeon, because, streaming. Cut Season 14 in half, and the second half of it is Season 15, so... And then Season 16 is the first half of the show's Season 15 cycle, so... Season 15 is an improvement of Season 14. A vast improvement, I should say. Well, yeah, there are some episodes where I don't particularly care about, like Who's Afraid of Mr. Snippers and Pinned. The season has episodes that I enjoyed, like Wary Gary, Delivery of Doom. And then there's the critically acclaimed A Fish Called Sandy, which is not even my favorite of the season, but it comes really close. I think Delivery of Doom is my favorite of Season 15. My least favorite episode of Season 15 would have to be Sammy Suckerfish, the season premiere. I'm not interested in Sammy. He's a pretty uninteresting character. I appreciate the whole Mary Poppins parody, but that's not saying much. Pretty boring episode, but whatever. Season 15, to wrap up this video, I think is a vast improvement over Season 14, so it's going in the B tier. So yeah, this is my personal opinion on every SpongeBob season up to Season 15. Again, I'll update this once more seasons drop, and I'll definitely do more tier videos like these in the very near future. So, what do you guys think of my opinions on these seasons? Do you disagree? Do you agree? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, it's Impact signing you off. Peace.